Hello, this is Drew Weber, and I wanted to do an overview today of the Tascam IM2 USB microphone for iPhone 4, 4S, iPod Touch 4th Gen, and both models of iPads. I'm currently speaking using the internal mic of the iPhone 4 to give you a comparison of how much the Tascam IM2 really does enhance the input. Of course, the iPhone 4's mic has a 200Hz roll-off and is a mono mic, and to me, the frequency response seems to be pretty skewed. So before we go any further, let's plug in the Tascam IM2 and discuss it. So that is what I've done. I am now talking into the Tascam IM2. I'm using the PCM Recorder application released from Tascam. The app seems to be fairly accessible. It is free, and it does guarantee, of course, that it works with the Tascam IM2. The IM2 contains a pair of stereo condenser microphones. It's powered off the dock connector of the iPhone or iOS device, and it measures about 3 inches long and 2 inches wide, or deep. When it's plugged into your iPhone 4, you have a little slant up and then a cylinder, which is the housing for the microphones. The unit, or at least the outside of it, is made of plastic and contains one knob, one switch, and one USB port. On the right side of the device, going towards the dock connector if you have it plugged in from the housing, you'll feel a USB port. It's one of those micro or mini USB ports that you'd use like on your Victor Stream or handheld field recorder. This allows you to power/charge the iPhone through the Tascam IM2. Going forward towards the dock connector, you'll have a switch which engages the limiter. And that's all you have on the right side of the unit. On the left side of the unit, going towards the dock from the cylinder, you have a knob which is your volume knob or gain. The knob is very small, reminds me of a Walkman knob, and though it is easy to use in regards to turning it up and down, I don't know how easy it would be to actually count click stops. I'm probably holding the iPhone about 4 or 5 inches away from my mouth right now. The IM2 does not come equipped with a windshield, and it does seem to be pretty noisy in regards to capturing plosives if you get it too close to your mouth. I will say that the windshield that fits the Zoom H2 recorder fits very nicely over the top of the IM2. On the very front of the IM2, again, if you have it plugged into the dock connector, so basically very front being what is facing you, there feels like 2 switches. These aren't actually switches as much as they are rollers, which allow you to move the mics front to back. This, of course, enables you to angle the mics properly if you're going to be shooting video and you want to correctly mic a source. In regards to swinging the mics left or right, you can't do that. They're physically in place, and I'm gonna guesstimate that they're around 90 degrees away from each other. Right now I have the microphones pointing out to the front or to the back of the phone, basically straight away from the dock connector. I should be recording in stereo, and of course normally when you do speech you have a mono input source, but I'm doing this just so that you can hear what this microphone sounds like with speech. Let's talk price point. The microphone sells for $79, or I think it might be $79.99, and you can currently purchase the microphone from B&H Photo Video. B&H Photo Video got their shipment of IM2s on December the 12th. I had pre-ordered mine, so I'm not for sure if they're still in stock or not. And if you went to the Tascam website and searched IM2, at least the last time I checked, the only place to buy it was B&H Photo Video. If you do a Google search, you'll find other websites that are going to sell the product, but again, before I got mine, none of the other sites had got their shipments in from Tascam yet. Let's talk the pros. The pros of the microphone to me are that it greatly enhances your sound quality from the stock internal microphone. You get a much wider frequency response that seems to be, at least from my experience, pretty flat. The microphone is small enough to fit in your pocket, so if you want to utilize it, on the go or mobile, you're able to do so. The mic, of course, plugs into the 4th gen of devices, which is a huge plus because before it, well, there was only one other product that would enable you to have a true stereo recording. And though this product is very cool and many people use it, I haven't seen it, but it seems a little bit bigger than what I'd want to deal with on a daily mobile basis. And the preamp noise is a little bit above what I would also want as well. The stereo spectrum seems pretty nice. I'll take you out and let you hear some traffic here in a little bit, and we'll do some other audio examples. So what about the cons? When I first plugged the microphone in to my iPhone 4, I found that it disabled the iPhone speaker. After I thought about it and talked to some friends, it seems normal because it does show up and recognize itself as a USB audio device, taking over both input and output from your phone. This, of course, doesn't make it very easy on the fly if you want to just plug in your mic and do a quick recording and have VoiceOver read you your buttons and labels through apps and stuff on the screen. As I mentioned the buttons, switches, and connectors on the mic, of course I didn't mention a headphone jack. So you have to utilize the headphone jack that is actually on your iPhone. This doesn't really cause a problem for iPhone users, but would cause a problem for iPod Touch users. The microphone plugging directly into the dock connector is wide enough and so fit snug to the phone or device that it will actually cover your headphone jack on your iPod Touch. So if an iPod Touch user wants to use this microphone, they would have to get a dock extension cable, plug it into the dock connector of their iPod, and then plug, of course, the IM2 into the other end. This makes it a little bit less mobile, but still doable. I currently have an OtterBox Defender style case for my iPhone, and the microphone will not plug in to the dock slot on this case. So I've had to take out the iPhone out of the case to be able to plug the microphone in. Again, it fits pretty snugly. I, like an iPod user, will have to end up buying a extension cable. Of course, the microphone does, as I stated, run off of the iOS device's battery. And it does seem to be somewhat of a considerable drain. I haven't done an exact test, but I'll say that it probably is going to lessen your battery time by at least 25%, if not a little bit more. This probably won't be a problem if you don't plan on recording like all the time or having the mic plugged in the whole time you are out on a travel excursion or whatever. And that leads me to the fact that standalone field recorders definitely have their place. They always have and they always will. But the IM2 also, in my opinion, has its place because of what you're able to do with other apps besides just straight recording. For example, AudioBoo. The app allows you to make a recording and then send it up to the internet and post it on different feeds that you have, be it that Facebook or Twitter. You can do that without having to record and stick an SD card in your computer and transfer the file. You can do that right on the fly, which to me is pretty sweet. Also, Shoutcast Broadcasting or Icecast Broadcasting. You're able to utilize an app such as Papaya Broadcaster to be able to broadcast in real time an audio stream. What is kind of interesting to me is the apps that I haven't found out yet how to make work with a microphone, being that number one, GigDaddy, which I would think would be a pretty popular app in the blindness community. It's a multi-track recorder that's fully accessible with VoiceOver. Tells me when I have the microphone plugged in that there's no mic connected. And I have tried starting the app, plugging the mic in, and having the mic plugged in and then starting the app. I also tried GarageBand, and it also doesn't seem to recognize the mic, though I am not a very avid GarageBand user on iOS, so I may be missing a setting. But to me, that's very interesting. That's one of the big reasons I got the mic, was because I wanted to do some multi-track recording on the fly, pulling the phone out of my pocket, plugging in the mic, and being able to do multi-track stuff and then have a rough idea. I've written the developer of GigDaddy yesterday, and hopefully they'll return my email and give me a solution. Let's talk sound pressure levels. I think this mic is supposed to take up to 160 decibels. That's pretty good, in my opinion. I have nothing here that loud to test it with, but without any further ado, let's go out and do some testing. I'm sure my speech is getting pretty boring. Now, as I'm walking, the mic is moving because I am moving, and I'm going to go ahead and go get that windscreen, and I apologize for any plosives that you may have heard thus far. The mic seems like it should have a windscreen. In my opinion, they should have released it with one, because of the fact that if you don't have a windscreen, the mic